everyone, it's Margaret. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to share with you what an ideal day looks like for me as a full-time artist. And by ideal, I mean a day where everything goes to plan, which I know is sometimes unrealistic, but it's often a reality for me because I like to keep a pretty regular schedule as a full-time artist. And so typically I start out the day by waking up around 6:30 to 7 in the morning, and I start my day off with writing my morning pages and eating breakfast. The morning pages are a habit I developed based on Julia Cameron's Artist Way, where she describes writing 3 pages by hand, and this has been a really great way for me to set my intentions for the day and start it off right. I like to write down whatever is on my mind, or maybe the dreams that I've had the previous night, or maybe things that I'm worried about, or things that I'm looking forward to. And it's a great way for me to kind of reset for the day and get started. So after breakfast and my morning pages, I get ready to go to the studio. I usually pack my lunch to eat at my studio and then head out to leave. I share a car with my partner, so we commute together to work, and I try to get to my studio between 8:30 and 9 a.m. And once I get to the studio, I really focus on painting from 9 to 12. I block off in my calendar to paint for those 3 hours, and I usually put my phone on Do Not Disturb, so I have quality focus time to paint. Around 12, I have lunch. Some days I have lunch alone in the studio, and some days I have lunch with the other artists, depending on whether they're also in. So I've just moved into this studio space a few months ago, and I've really been loving it here. I've been able to connect with more visual artists in San Jose, and it really has strengthened my artist community. And it's also a really great feeling to be working in a space where I know that there are other artists who are working on their own creative pursuits. So I feel really grateful to have this space and have broadened my artist community. And then after lunch, I try to paint for a few more hours, depending on how focused I can stay on my work. On average, I tend to paint until 3 and then head home to pick up my partner from work. Some days I have to leave earlier to take some meetings at home because I don't like bringing my computer to the studio because I want to limit the number of distractions I have while I'm there. I really just want to focus on painting. And then sometimes when I don't have meetings in the afternoon, I'll work until 4 or 5 p.m. And then once I get back home, I go to the gym around 4 or 5, depending on how long I was at the studio and how long my meetings go for. Exercising is a really important part of my schedule because it helps me let go of the day and move around. Painting is quite stationary, so it's important for me to stretch and exercise my body to make sure I stay healthy and keep my body in shape. And then after going to the gym, I eat dinner with my partner, and then after dinner, I do any computer work that needs to get done. So that includes editing YouTube videos, updating my website, writing my monthly newsletter, which you can sign up for using the link in the description and below, tracking my finances, just, a lot of administrative work. And I try to save all my computer work for the evenings because I like to use as much daylight as I can to paint. I also feel the most energized in the morning and want to spend that time on deep creative work. I also know that the computer work has to get done in order for my business to run, so I do know that I'll get to that work at some point. It's much easier to push off a painting and say that I'll get to it and then just not ever get to actually painting, so I really try to make that a priority in my day. And then around 9 p.m., I try to wind down for bed. I like to read a bit before I fall asleep, and I try to read nonfiction before bed because it helps me feel relaxed and tired. And then ideally, I am asleep by 10 to 10:30. I like to go to bed early because I know that I need a lot of sleep to feel refreshed the next day, and then it also helps me wake up early. So that's an ideal day for me as a full-time artist. As I mentioned, not every day looks like this, and my days that I do plan to look like this sometimes don't happen because something comes up. Generally, my weekdays do follow this schedule, and with the built-in habits that I have and time chunks for my morning pages, painting, and workouts, I don't have to think much about doing the things that are my priorities and helping me feel good. There are days that I know I have other things to work on besides painting that are going to take some time, so I try to plan those days in advance, and usually only the painting time block changes. That way, I know that I am intentionally changing my schedule and it doesn't feel like I'm breaking my habits, which helps me maintain them. And then there are days that just don't go according to plan, and with those days, I have to remind myself to let go of the schedule and often tell myself to go with the flow and not feel too attached to what I had planned. And I'll be honest, those days are sometimes hard for me because it feels quite frustrating when things don't go according to plan, but I think that's part of life, and it's important for me to learn how to better adapt to those days. So thanks for following along in a day of my life. If you're an artist or full-time, part-time, or hobbyist, I'd love to hear how you fit creative time into your life. So let me know in the comments below. And if you have other things that you'd like me to talk about as a full-time artist on this channel, share that in the comments as well. Thanks so much for watching and supporting my channel. Make sure you like and subscribe.